Good afternoon, Lisa.
Good afternoon, Andrew.
What are you being served?
Yes, we're now on to Series 7. And yes, that has still got Mr. Granger on the front cover because they're too lazy to change it.
So, Series 7 from October 1979. So the episode is The Junior.
Yes.
And as it's the start of the new season, I just thought we'd spend a couple of minutes just
Mm-hmm.
seeing what else is available that day.
And that's a Friday.
So it's Friday the 19th of October. BBC One opens at 6:40 in the morning with the Open University.
Gosh.
With silicon solar cells. And then it closes down again at 5 to 8. Then schools and colleges, including something about the Welsh Telegram.
Yeah.
You and Me on the subject of going down. Schools and colleges, more closed down.
Why did it close down? It closes down for 15 minutes.
Midday News, Pebble Mill at 1. Camberwick Green, Mr. Crockett the Garage Man. Schools and colleges, closed down. Play School, Maxi Dog, a cartoon series from Czechoslovakia, Fig the Sportsman. Story told by Derek Geiler.
Okay.
Oh yes. Jack and Ori with Elaine Stritch, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Okay.
Hong Kong Phooey, TV or Not TV, a series of comedy cartoons. Hong Kong Phooey is, in case you didn't know.
Seriously?
Cracker Jack.
Cracker Jack.
5 to 5. Ed Stewart, Peter Glaze, Jan Hunt, Bernie Clifton with Val Mitchell. Noah and Nellie in Skylark.
Okay.
During a Jumpy Time, told by Richard Briers and Peter Hawkins.
Yes.
It's always a weird combination, those two, in this. Evening News, Nationwide from Belfast, Tom and Jerry. Are You Being Served is at 7:05. There is a staff vacancy in the menswear department at Grace Brothers. The management decide to advertise for a junior. Okay. Sykes, Eric Sykes, Hattie Jakes, Derek Geiler. Oh yes.
A lot of Derek Geiler.
The Stay-at-Home Holiday. Penn Marek.
Yeah.
Which is produced by Ron Craddock.
Okay.
1890 this is set. Theme music is on a BBC record, RESL 71, for those people who like their BBC records. 9 o'clock news, Petrocelli, Points of View is at 10:15 at night.
That's very late.
Yeah. Dear BBC, I think BBC is a load of old. Jack Benny and the Asphalt Jungle is the late film. Briefly on BBC Two, let's have a look. BBC Two starts at 11 o'clock in the morning with Play School, Carol Chell and Stuart McGugan, and the village of Butlers Hard, Hampshire.
Okay.
That's not far from us.
No.
Okay. Closed down till 11:25 till 6:05.
Okay.
So it's
hardly
not much
worth it, really, is
Open
it?
University Gardener's World, Funny Birds, a Czech cartoon about the adventures of two funny birds.
Right.
That's what it says on the tin. Mid-evening news, Kilvert's Diary, Step This Way, about dancing with Peggy Spencer,
Okay.
Disco. At 8:20, Fred Emney in the Old Boy Network.
Okay.
Describe him as the big man with a posh accent, a monocle and cigar, and most people will recognise Fred Emney, one of the most durable talents in British show business. Would you recognise Fred Emney these days?
Possibly.
Tonight he recalls his bizarre beginnings from a Wild West bar to a boxing ring. He talks of his successes in the theatre and film world, and you'll surely remember him at the piano. Programme associate, Jimmy Perry. Gypsy, a Warner Brothers picture.
Yes.
Late news, Friday night, Saturday morning. A way of ending the week with Sir Harold Wilson talking to Robin Day.
Okay.
Alright, okay. And then close down, Peter Jeffrey reads On the Departure Platform by Thomas Hardy.
Is that a poem?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, it's hardly a bit likely to be a novel, is it?
Well, no, but...
But, I don't know, Thomas Hardy getting on a train. I don't know. Maybe he went to Wales in a train or something.
Maybe, yeah.
With 2 or 3 carriages. But anyway, The Junior.
Yes.
The unknown lady's assistant is favoured by the camera for a bit. we cut to the canteen, and there's a big sign up saying "Good luck, Mr. Tebbs."
There is.
So Mr. Tebbs has literally walked out the door.
Out the door, yes.
The moment we've arrived.
Yes, because the actor's not available as per last video.
Yeah, I just love the way they're so blatant about that. The fact, bye, Mr. Tebbs, see ya. But yes, if he'd stayed on for 5 years, he could have got £1 a week extra pension, which hardly seems worth it. He's left his farewell cake with his teeth marks in it. Mrs. Slocum is green. Mr. Humphreys hopes that if he leaves, his aftershave will linger.
Yes.
And they're trying to think about happy memories of Mr. Tebbs, and they can't think of much.
No.
The best they can come up with is he would have his custard like a bucket and dredger. But there's been talk on the 6th floor.
Okay, yeah.
So it doesn't say at boardroom level, it says 6th floor.
6th floor, yeah.
And this is very BBC, isn't it? Because the 6th floor would be all like where programme sort of bosses were and things like that. And they're going to advertise for a new man. Mr. Humphreys is a bit put out because he's been here 16 years, man and boy, mostly boy, and he thinks he should take over. But they point out that the post they've advertised is for the junior.
Yes.
Although later on you find out they didn't put the word junior in the advert.
Because it would have cost more money.
It would have cost more money. They're paying by the word. Mr. Humphreys will quite possibly be the senior.
Yes.
And he's so happy he starts blubbing, doesn't he?
Yes.
And then his leg goes. He starts sort of wobbling up and down.
And then he gets hiccups.
Yeah. This used to be his reaction at school when he was a prefect.
Yes.
And the teacher used to tell a boy to go and give him a surprise. And apparently the boy still writes to him. Yeah. Young Mr. Gracie's got his feet in a bowl of water. This is because his bunions are playing up because of the bad weather. There's a storm. Or rather, there was a storm and it's taken this long
for it to get to
for the message from his brain to get to his feet.
Yeah.
His secretary's suspender's gone, and she shows, and that message does get through a bit quicker, doesn't it?
And he hasn't got his flashy thing, has he?
No, he just has to go ooh, 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 doesn't he? At Mr. Rumbold's office, and now Mr. Rumbold rings up, rather, and he wants the decision on Mr. Humphreys.
Yes.
Is he or isn't he?
Yes.
Mr. Grace has been asking that for years. If they put him on probation, Mr. Grace's didn't know that the case had come up. I love the way this sort of works. His nurse asks whether he wants more hot water. Yeah. He says yes, and Mr. Rumbold thinks that's his answer to his question.
So he puts the phone down.
Yeah. Mr. Harmon comes in having fixed Mr. Rumbold's lamp or something, isn't it? Yeah. But he's told to leave because there's going to be a confidential meeting. So in come Captain Peacock, Mr. Humphreys and Mr. Lucas. And Mr. Humphreys is offered the new position, and again he starts blubbing.
Yes.
And he's incomprehensible from that. And Mr. Lucas has to translate, doesn't he?
Yes.
And first of all, he's very happy. And then he wants, can he phone his mother?
Yeah.
And then will he get any more money? So he's put on a new grade.
Yeah.
Then he sees the figure, and he starts blubbing again, doesn't he?
Because it's not very much of an increase.
But there's a gap to be filled, and is Mr. Lucas capable? Is he ready for it? And Mr. Humphreys opines that he's as ready as he'll ever be.
Yes.
So he thinks youth should have a chance. So he gets shown his new increase, which is a whole £1 a week.
Yes.
Woohoo! But yeah, the advert in the press for a worthy replacement for Mr. Lucas, and Captain Peacock, who's not so keen on Mr. Lucas getting this position, says it should be in the agony column of the Beano.
Yes.
Yeah. I've numbered the pages this time,
well
so
done,
I can do it. Yeah. Mrs. Slocum offers her congratulations, and Mr. Humphreys has to take up his new senior position at the counter. And he feels like a bride walking down the aisle. And he notes that the floor has been worn away
by all the people that have stood there.
Yeah. So he gets all his new equipment. He gets a pin cushion. He gets chalk. And he gets a new tape, which is got to go round his neck.
Yes, because the senior wears it round his neck.
And that's the ultimate honour, isn't it? Because his leg goes again.
Yeah.
Mr. Lucas also has to take up a new position, which is achieved by taking one step sideways.
To the left. Yes.
Yeah. the candidates are going to be interviewed, was it Thursday evening?
Mm-hmm.
And it's time for the assistant salesman tea break.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Humphreys is going to go, and that's not him now. He's the senior, and he's already missed his because his was an hour ago.
Mm-hmm.
A little unfair, but never mind. So at the interviews, so Captain Peacock and Mr. Rumbold are on one table.
Yes.
Everybody else is behind another one.
Yes, they want them to take part so that they can find somebody who will get along with the team.
Yeah. And Warwick's assisting, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. And Mr.
And Mr. Harmon.
Harmon, yeah.
So first of all, in comes Mr. Webster. You like Mr. Webster,
very
don't we?
Sweet, Mr. Webster.
There's Tony Simpson
Yes, little old man.
in his full old man, big bushy white beard routine, isn't he?
Yeah.
How old are you? Hey?
Yeah.
How old are you? 48!
Yeah. Now, considering he's already had 26 years at Derry and Tom's.
Yeah.
You know.
Because he reels off it, where he's been.
Yeah.
In his last position, he was at a pet shop.
At the Bow Wow Pet Shop.
But he had to give it up because he was savaged by a hamster.
Yes.
He's not been able to sit down.
No.
Just imagine a hamster hanging off of his trousers.
Yes.
They ask him about his product knowledge, about sort of nylon and what have you, and he soon realises, I haven't got the job, have I?
Yeah.
But this is the thing about he lives in a packing case in Covent Garden.
It's got bananas on it.
Yeah.
And it's the only one with a chimney.
It's got a chimney. And he gets a round of applause when he goes
gets a round of applause, yeah. He shuffles off, and Mrs. Slocum says, "Oh, stop him and see if he wants a cup of tea in the canteen."
Mr. Harmon says he's had 15 cups of tea, 4 shepherd's pie, an apple crumble. He did a song and dance routine with some spoons and got £6.
Yeah, because he's been there since 3 o'clock.
Funny, we don't see any of this.
No.
Enter Mr. Beauchamp.
Mr. Beauchamp.
Or Mr. Beecham,
Mr.
as
Beecham,
he
insists.
insists.
It's pronounced, yes.
Can we describe Mr. Beauchamp, stroke Beecham?
Mr. Beecham is a slightly posh version of Mr. Humphreys, really.
Okay.
Which is why he immediately takes against him, doesn't he?
Yeah, because he's
got a sort of hat and a...
Yeah. He's worked in simply oodles of shops, and he was big in men's undies in Harrods, wasn't he? But yeah, Mr. Humphreys immediately starts almost curling his lip, doesn't he? 'Cause
he doesn't like him.
He doesn't like him at all. And he sort of basically gets rid of him very soon, doesn't he? Mr. Lucas wonders, why'd you get rid of her? And he says, we don't want people like that working here. Which is... Yes, indeed. And send in the next one. Well, there isn't a next one.
That's it. Yes.
Well, there were half a dozen, but they looked at Mr. Rumbold's pay slip and worked out that if that was what he was paying, they'd be on starvation wages.
Yes.
But just as they're all about to sort of pack up and go home, enter Alfie Bass.
Yes, the liftings, and Alfie Bass comes
as Mr. Goldberg. So yeah, he seems to be a much better fit, doesn't he? Because he starts complimenting everyone.
He does
as he meets them all. Like saying, like, Mr. Humphreys is so high up and
so young,
and Mr. Humphreys says so far so good. Then when he gets to Captain Peacock, there's some recognition going on here, isn't there?
Yes, sir. Corporal Peacock. We served together in Catterick.
At Catterick. What was it? It was him on his bed with his hat on, or something.
With his hat on and his shirt tails.
Yeah. It was you, wasn't it? Says Mr. Lucas.
Yeah.
But Peacock is... He admits he was a corporal for a few weeks.
Yes.
But Mr. Goldberg says that this person was a corporal when they went to Egypt and they were in the cookhouse, weren't they? But Mr. Rumbold insists that he fought with Rommel. That Captain Peacock fought against Rommel.
Not with Rommel. Rommel's a German.
No. Well, when I say fought with him, like...
Yeah, no, not like that, no.
But yeah, when hearing about he fought against Rommel, Mr. Goldberg says, yeah, we always wondered what he did in his spare time. But Mrs. Slocum, thank you, is keen to get back to her pussy, because if she doesn't get home before 8, she's got to stroke it all night, hasn't she?
Yes.
Yeah. But Mr. Goldberg had his own establishment as well as lots of experience.
Yes.
Captain Peacock says, "Did the wheels fall off your barrow?" Basically, this was in Bermondsey above a fish and chip shop.
Yes.
But it got burnt down yesterday, didn't
Yes.
it? He's shown the salary and wonders if it's per day.
Yes.
Turns out to be per week, but he says at least you're doing your bit to fight inflation. And they point out you get commission, holiday, and pension. So yeah, it's he's you know, you'll think he'll have it
if he's lucky enough to be offered it.
Yes. But yeah, he says strange the tricks sort of mind can play. He says, "Here's me card," and the letterbox is still standing, so you can still write to him. Captain Peacock says he you know, he's not at all keen, but everybody else votes
for him
to get the position. So basically, he's offered it. So next day.
Well, it's the Monday.
All right, Monday morning. Yes. That's right. Yeah. Monday morning, the cleaning ladies are in and they ask about the new junior.
Is he talled up and handsome?
Yeah.
He says, no, he's old, stoutish and greyish.
Yeah. Everybody sort of refers to Corporal Peacock when they come in, which doesn't go down well.
No, he stamps down there, doesn't he?
And Mrs. Slocum sort of wants a word and asks for a bit more detail. And he says, you know, well, what about you 35 years ago when you were at, what's it, a nippy at Lions? What's a nippy?
A waitress, I think,
Right,
at the Lions Corner House.
Right.
They're called nippies because they
nipped about.
Yeah, I think.
Mr. Lucas is on time because he can afford to come on the bus rather than hitchhike. And Mr. Humphreys is all posh, isn't he?
He is. He's got a hat
with his
and a
senior
flower.
Homburg and everything. Yeah. He's almost sort of John Steedy, almost.
Almost. Yeah.
Because Steed occasionally used to have a sort of longer thing like that. His mother burst into tears, but that's because he had to use the milk money to buy the hat.
Yeah.
In come Mr. Goldberg saying, "Call me Harry." But yeah, the fat caught a light, wasn't it? When the thing went on, when the bell goes, he has a bit of a flashback, doesn't he? Because he thinks it's a fire alarm or something. Mr. Humphrey says that power won't corrupt him, but immediately tells Mr. Lucas off for his glove drawer being untidy. But Mr. Lucas has got to tot up his month's figures, hasn't he? And he's finding it a bit difficult because he hasn't got any batteries in his calculator. No. So over goes Mr. Goldberg, and I love this bit.
He does a
sort of... there you are. Sort of muttering it under his breath.
And then he tidies the glove drawer.
Yeah, but they talk about the commission, and the way is you get what you sell, basically.
Yes.
And Mr. Goldberg says, wouldn't it be better if we pulled it all and split it 3 ways?
Yes.
And they say, well, no, you know.
That's the way we've always done it.
But what if somebody asks for me, or not till you've built up a clientele? And then ting, both lift doors go at once, and loads of blokes come in, don't they?
Lots of
careful.
Of his friends.
Yeah. Lots of Mr. Goldberg's acquaintances.
Yes.
Including Morris Barry. Who actually gets a couple of lines.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
So yeah, what with being in this and Creature from the Pit in 1979,
he's busy here.
He's got some busy acting,
Some busy acting.
So there's some talk about the fire. I thought that was next week, and it was brought forward apparently. So something's going on.
Yes.
And then they start picking up things like £500 coats.
Yes, and they get to like £1,250.
Yeah. And you can tell that they've never done so much trade in a few minutes, can't you? Yeah. So they're amazed.
Everybody's keen to help, aren't they?
And young Mr. Grace is later on the phone to Mr. Rumbold. He says the figures are very good. It's the best week of the year. Offer him a 7 and 6 rise.
7 and 6.
But the money he wants means he'd have to be
senior salesman.
In the senior salesman.
And also Captain Peacock is not agreeable.
Captain Peacock will basically walk out. But everybody else likes him because Mrs. Slocum is going to go to the pictures with him, apparently.
Is, yeah. So much for a poor pussy.
Yeah. Mr. Humphreys, though, is not so keen on his position after sort of occupied it for a little while. He hasn't slept for a week, basically. So yeah, there's a scene between Mr. Goldberg and Captain Peacock, and Mr. Goldberg says that if he leaves, he'll have to leave a memento to the staff, you know, and he's got a photograph of the army days.
Yes, of him and the man you're not.
Yeah. And if you look with a magnifying glass, you see he's got a tattoo which says "Death Before Dishonour," and Captain Peacock sort of, oh, okay. Everybody comes in and says we want him to stay, and Captain Peacock agrees to it, and he gets handed the photo, doesn't he? So he can keep it.
Yes.
Episode credits run, and it's Johnny Inman, Molly Sugden, Frank Thornton, Trevor Bannister. So Trevor's down to 4th position.
He's down to 4th position, yes.
But as you said, Alfie Bass is just he fits in very well, doesn't he?
He's class, isn't he? You can see what a good actor he is, because he comes in and the character is immediately established.
Yeah.
And that will continue in the next episode. You know, he's just really good.
Yeah.
He's really good. It feels like he's been there for ages.
He fits.
He does.
Yeah.
And he's completely different from Mr. Tebbs.
That's the thing.
And Mr.
The
Granger.
thing about some of the Mr. Tebbs bits,
you could see Mr. Granger.
You could see Mr. Granger in. This is now a firmly established character. How much of that is writing and how much of that is Alfie Bass?
Yeah.
Is a bit of both, really, isn't it?
It is, but yeah, he's really good.
Yeah,
really good, and it's a shame he only stays for one.
Again,
series.
You know, he's
as you said, there's a bit of a gap between this series and the next one, isn't there?
Yeah, so. he's here for this year, so
maybe
let's enjoy him while we can. But yeah, so I think off to a promising start this season. I think so. So we'll see you again soon.
Yes, and
what's the next one?
Next week's one is Strong Stuff, This Insurance.
Oh, that's the medicals.
It is.
Oh, blimey, yes, that's rather good.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye.